Good day, this is Jimmy. Gonna go down the rabbit hole today. Got a few things going on with this K5 Blazer. Some of them are deep structural. There's some people would go in and they would powder puff something and fix a topical repair. But if you really want to make a repair, if you really want to learn something, you're gonna learn by doing. And you're also gonna need a little help from the guys around you. This is I pulled it down. I was talking to my buddy at 216 Auto Restoration. You ought to check him out. He's a little more detailed than me and does some fine work. Well, either way it goes, here we are. I've went down the rabbit hole, as he said, and I figured out that there's some repairs that cannot be overlooked. And you're going to see that today. When you pull some panels off, you may think you're getting away with something by doing a topical repair, but you're not. Now, there is an answer. There's some tricks. It's usually if you've got metal and you've got a way to bend it and you've got a way to make a template, you can take care of this. But you got to have heart for it. You got to want to make it happen. And today we're going to use some heart and we're going to use some experience and we're going to make a repair that you don't want to miss.
Now this is where we begin. As you see at the bottom of this B-pillar, at the front of that bedside, there's a lot of rust that we can see from the outside. But let's open it up and see what we have on the inside. Now we're on the front right-hand side, which would be the passenger side. The right hand's always going to be the passenger side, especially when you're ordering parts. We're on the right-hand side at the bottom, removing I would say the front quarter panel of this side panel. Now we're going to try to remove it in a big enough piece to where we can also make a template for it. But I'm going to go on and cut it out. And the main thing is we're going to have to just keep digging in here till we find the end of this rust problem and start building our way back out. Now I've speeded it up to spare you a lot of this grinding and cutting, but you get the picture. We are going to have to remove some stuff just to see how much damage we have. So a topical repair, as you see when we pull this panel out, would really be causing a problem and a place for moisture to gather. I see a lot of do-it-yourself videos that are showing you that you can spray a bunch of foam in there and cut it off and whatever. And that's what I'm talking about, or the moisture damage is going to take place. That's called a patch. That is not a repair. We're going to show you a repair today. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is why I'm saying you can't really predict a cost when you're doing fabrication. You can just upright say, hey, I'm going to change all of this stuff. And probably come out pretty good. But with your estimate, but it's going to cost so much that nobody wants to pay it. And I would say our repairs, and we have some panels, our repairs are going to be sectional. This is a plate right here that is damaged. So rust goes, it starts on the inside and works its way out actually. All right, we have that bottom piece right here. So we do have a lot of material here. So we're going to start working on putting this material in. It has guidelines, which is great. And when I say guidelines, it's like there's some bolt holes to line up on this panel. There's 2 bolt holes on that panel. This replacement panel, these are those bolts. So we're going to cut those bolts loose. We're going to work that out, and we're going to work this in to where they will bolt up in the original place. But first, there's some plate work right here has to be done. And look what we got ourselves into. It's real easy. Get yourself into this. Now, my suggestion would be that bolt doesn't look like it's in there. This one is, and this one is. So I need to save those distances, but this has to come off because we need a repair. And until I put a grinder to it, I don't know exactly how much repair we're talking about. I've got it cleaned off somewhat. The plan is to build a template for it. So I need to pull those bolts out. They hadn't been out in a day or two. Might put a little penetrating oil on them and go into another project. But that's pretty thick. We need something good and solid in there. We're gonna have to start with that, and preferably marking those bolt holes so we can bolt the other piece up. They probably had to just stick some bolts through the back side of the template and tack them so that piece will just fit right on. But let's work on this template. All right, the first thing is making a decision. I've grinded this back. It's pretty thick. I feel like we've got metal to weld right through this area right here. And I also feel like at this bolt hole and this bolt hole and this one, as this piece goes around, it's got two more bolt holes where the bolts are terribly corroded. I'm gonna go back in behind them and knock them off. We're gonna go with new bolts, but our template will be a matching piece just like this. Now, instead of making a paper template, we're gonna have the actual template, because I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna cut it right here so we can, well, let's see here. I've got a new piece here, so I may just cut all the way through that. Let's see how this turns out. About how we're gonna manage this piece down here. I think I'm just gonna cut it back, and the template will have to be longer right there. Now, did I explain that rust repair is flying by the seat of your pants? Well, it is for me because I do not have that unlimited supply of finance and parts. But we're gonna make a good solid. All right. First thing is you gotta make a decision. Sometimes you have to do and redo. But my decision is this metal's thick enough right there. Place the bottom of that and come down. Gonna even cut into this because I have this new piece. But to hold a measurement, or may trim it later, just to hold a measurement, because the part that we have, it goes right here, has that crease in it. Now you can use my logic or whatever, but I'm gonna save that crease just to hold my distance. If I go below that crease right there. So we're gonna hold as much as we can here, but we've got to pull this out, make sure there's no damage behind it. Trying to take this off in one piece so I can use it for a template. If it gets any more sketchy, I'll probably go in and make a paper template of it, but I'd love to have this because there is some creases in it that turn it back like a wheel well type deal. Look what fun we're having. So if you ever feel like digging a hole, and a lot of people say, well, what's the right way to do it? Well, what are you expecting out of it? You want a nice, fun ride. You want it to be solid. You're gonna put some metal in it so you don't have no issues for 20, 30 years. This is how you do it. If you want something to carry to Barrett Jackson, well, hey, just order all the new parts and put it together and make you a truck. But we're bringing back a survivor. Let's do this job. All right, I cut it up here where we had good solid metal. Nipped it down here. We know we're gonna have to put a lip on the piece as this is. Add another inch down here. I took those two bolts out and hey, a window. Not too bad in there actually. So this is gonna be our next win. We've got to make this piece. It's got a lip on the edge right there. It's gonna have to have a lip here. That there, we'll just put something in and pleat it. And also at the bottom, we'll make it a 1/2 inch longer. And we'll drill those holes in it. And it'll bolt right up. And hey, what a surprise. It's a lip that goes in that actually bolts in. Well, maybe we haven't dealt with it yet, but we're about to. So the piece that we build, I'm gonna cut it right here because I'm just gonna make the bottom piece and it goes in. It should bolt right in. Weld across the bottom, bolt back in, weld across the top. A lot of times the stuff that looks so scary, you just got to get in there to it. So we're just going to focus on making this repair. And then we'll deal with the next thing.
All right, as we discussed in this video, I dug a hole in the side of that car. Wind up coming in here and getting some pretty gnarly stuff. It looks bad, but what you didn't see, it looks even worse. But I cut that patch out. Now, this is what we're going to do. It looks complicated, and it's really just getting the motivation and getting in there and getting it done. So I'm going to take what we've got. We're going to establish a template. All right, as I explain it to you, I'm laying that out. Now, this has a lip on it. We want that lip. All right, we cut the bottom loose, a little short because of the structure, so we can clean that up better. So we're going to need about a 1/2 inch right here. And there was one more thing inside of it that went around the corner. Okay, and as it went around the corner, it actually bolted to the truck. So here we are. Went around the corner. Okay. To make the template, we're just going to lay it flat because what the template is going to do, it's going to give us a piece of metal the size that we need. Let's get after it. Yep. So that would be the distance before the fold. I'm going to make a fold there. I'm going to make a fold here. So this is also going to be a good 3/4 of an inch fold. All right, we're going to go on and make the paper template. All right, that looks close enough for government work. We will have to go back in there and put the holes. After the bend, we're going to put the holes. We're going to put those bends, go on and mark the template to give you an idea. All right, we're going to cut our metal. Then we're going to put these lines on our template to go through our break. Let's get that metal going.
Okay, I think that one.
All right, this is what we come up with after the template. The line, we went on and made the break. Also made the crease. And this, well, let's just say it's a whole lot better than that. All right. Now let's see how our piece fits.
All right, this is what we've got pulled out. The original plate went in here to this bolt. So we've got that drawn back. Actually, on my plate, I've already marked for those holes. That's something that we'll drill out after we get it clamped in. Kind of an awkward position for my camera right now. But let me show you what we've got. But just drawing out that paper template. All right, you've been following along. All right, got it clamped in. It's a lot thicker than what was there. Gonna be a lot solider. Gonna pop a couple holes here. Put those bolts in here. Maybe, well, probably just the bolts and a little welding on the edge. Bring it around. Also have a bolt hole in here that has to be taken care of that we'll drill out, but we'll weld that in. Then we'll get on to our next template. Here's a little course on template making. The biggest thing about template making is getting in there and getting it done. So we've got it clamped in, we've got it done. Just made a copy of what we removed. Got rid of that rotten place. Put something in there a lot thicker than was there in the beginning. Hey, like and subscribe. We're going to weld this thing up. All right, got it welded in there. Got a couple of holes to drill in it. Got an extension here to put on next on that B-pillar. But we got our backing taken care of, and I think we can move on.